What if I told you the dream of owning a home in Australia wasn't just slipping away, but was stolen? Stolen not by a single villain, but by a system, a set of decisions made decades ago that have now trapped an entire generation. This isn't just about high prices. This is the story of a crisis that's been brewing for over 40 years, a crisis that many are now profiting from, and a crisis that no one in power seems willing to truly fix. We're going to unravel the mystery of how Australia, the land of the fair go, became one of the most unaffordable places on earth to live. And the answer is far more shocking than you think. To understand how we got here, we need to go back. Back to the 1980s, a time of big hair, bold music, and even bolder economic reforms. Australia was opening up to the world, and two key changes were made that would unknowingly light the fuse on our housing time bomb. First, the financial system was deregulated. This made it much easier for banks to lend money, a lot more money than ever before. Second, a tax policy called negative gearing was supercharged. In simple terms, it allowed property investors to deduct any losses they made on a rental property from their regular income. Suddenly, buying an investment property wasn't just about rental income, it was a powerful tax strategy. At the same time, another change to capital gains tax in 1999 made flipping houses for profit even more attractive. Individually, these policies might have seemed sensible, but together, they created a perfect storm. The floodgates of cheap credit opened, and investors, armed with powerful tax incentives, rushed into the property market. They weren't just buying one home to live in. They were buying 2, 3, 4, or more. This massive influx of investor demand began to fundamentally change the market. It was no longer just about providing shelter. It was about generating wealth. House prices, which had historically tracked alongside inflation and wages, began to disconnect from reality. They started a steep, relentless climb that would leave incomes far, far behind. For a while, everyone seemed to be winning. Existing homeowners saw their net worth skyrocket on paper. The government collected massive amounts in stamp duty taxes from all the buying and selling. The construction industry boomed. But underneath this glittering surface, a deep and dangerous divide was forming. The turning point really came in the early 2000s. The gap between house price growth and wage growth became a chasm. What was once a challenge for first-home buyers became an impossibility. The dream of a backyard for the kids was replaced by the reality of lifelong renting or being saddled with a mortgage so large it would dictate every life choice for the next 30 years. And the consequences? They are all around us. We see it in the shocking data. In the 1980s, the average home in Sydney cost about 4 times the average annual income. Today, it's over 15 times. We see it in the rise of rent vesting, where young people buy an investment property they can't afford to live in, somewhere far away, just to get a foot on the ladder while they continue to rent where they work. We see it in the rise of homelessness, in the stress on families, and in the delay of major life milestones like having children because the financial burden is just too great. The very social fabric of our cities is being torn apart as essential workers, like nurses, teachers, and firefighters, are priced out of the communities they serve. Over the years, there have been attempts to fix this, or at least appear to fix it. We've seen first home owner grants, which often just pushed prices up even further. We've seen endless debates about supply, with developers and politicians promising that just building more apartments will solve everything. Yet, many of these new apartments are small, expensive, and quickly snapped up by the same investors. Not by the families who need them. The core issues, the tax incentives, and the cheap credit that fuel investor demand, are rarely touched. They have become politically untouchable, a sacred cow protected by powerful lobby groups and the millions of voters who now have a vested interest in seeing prices go ever higher. It's a national addiction, and we're all caught in it. So where does this leave us? It's crucial to understand 3 key takeaways from this whole mess. First, this crisis was not an accident. It was created by specific policy decisions that prioritized wealth generation through property over housing as a fundamental need. Second, focusing only on building more supply without addressing the supercharged, tax-incentivized demand from investors is like trying to fill a bathtub with the drain wide open. It will never work. And third, the true cost of this crisis isn't measured in dollars, but in the lost opportunities, the diminished quality of life, and the growing inequality that is eroding the Australian promise of a fair go for all. We are at a crossroads. We can continue down this path, creating a permanent landlord class and a generation of renters. Or we can have an honest conversation about the policies that brought us here. This isn't about crashing the market or punishing homeowners. It's about restoring balance, ensuring that the primary purpose of housing is to be a home. The question we all need to ask is, what kind of future do we want to build? Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into the issues that shape our world. See you next time.